Good afternoon. My name is Tom Henkenius. I am the Department Chair for Digital Marketing and the Beauty Industry Programs here at FIDM. And welcome to our conversation on managing your business, where I hope we can get some groundbreaking insights from alumni about their unique business journeys. Over the next hour or so, we're going to welcome a shoe designer who started her career with a major fashion label, the owner of a model agency that manages and is a founder who started her company while still a student, a marketer turned founder, now working in the luxury pet space, and also the founders of a creative agency who met while here at college. I hope from all of this, you'll learn the value of creative business strategy, or what we like to call design thinking, because if you really do think about it, everything is designed. Garments, shoes, obviously, but we also design creative marketing strategy. We design websites to sell products. We design processes to track our inventory. Creative thinkers are truly at the heart of business today. And so we thought we would just introduce you to a few. So I want to start with everyone asking one question after I introduce you, and that will be this. If you were to meet a venture capitalist in an elevator, what is your elevator pitch about your company? So let's start with Camilla Gabrieli. She's an Italian designer and FIDM grad who's played a wide variety of roles in the fashion industry, including designing for major fashion labels like Vivienne Westwood, Halston. It was, though, her search for the perfect pair of wedding shoes that led her to design her own, pushing the boundaries of classic bridal design while creating a modern, sophisticated design. So we welcome Camilla and ask her to share with us, what is your elevator pitch of your company?
Yes, hi.
Hi, Camilla.
Hi. Hi, everyone. My name is Camilla, and I'm the founder and CEO of Camilla Gabrieli, a new luxury brand of hyper-feminine shoes defined by captivating jewel heels. So the shoes are entirely made in Italy, actually in Florence, with sustainable materials. And the design of the shoes make them instantly recognizable, specifically for the heels. I started with an oversized pearl to then go into a crystal sphere. And the last collection featured the supernova, a starburst on the heel that you'll see soon featured on Instagram and on my website, which has been this is going over an over design overhaul. So it's been extremely challenging and but exciting at the same time. I'm in my design journey, and the shoes are very unique, and they're extremely feminine. It's like about dressing from the feet up. The shoes define your outfit, and with my design, I always look at what could be special in the shoe and what makes it incredible.
Excellent. All right. Thank you. Welcome. Great to see you and looking forward to chatting with you. I want to next welcome Ayana Gordon. She founded A&G Model Management while still attending FIDM in 2018. She's since provided models for magazines, fashion weeks all around the world. A&G Model Management works hard to network with potential clients. They provide a pretty trusting system that will guide models to success and build models to expose their full potential. And so I thought, Ayana, we'd start with the same question for you. What is your elevator pitch for A&G Model Management?
Hi, let me start my video. This is starting. If it doesn't come, I think my picture is better than right now. So
yeah, we'll just leave the picture over there.
That talks for me. So my name is Ayana Gordon. I'm the CEO and founder of A&G Model Management and also Introspective Innovations Fashion Week. It's a leg from A&G Model Management. A&G Model Management provides superior services for clients just based on simplifying their production needs. And we work on full production projects and things like that. So, yes.
Excellent.
And then also, Introspective Innovations is an emerging Fashion Week brand that we do in New York Fashion Week for emerging innovative designers. So that is also a leg in things that we're working on with A&G Model Management.
Okay. There you are. Yes.
Okay.
Great to see you. Welcome. Thanks for joining
Okay,
us.
beautiful.
Okay. I next want to welcome Grace Wang. She comes from a pretty diverse background in marketing, project management, entrepreneurship, worked at Live Nation, as well as for some marketing agencies. It's made her a strategic thinker. She has a pretty strong presence and willingness to learn in just about any environment, which she learned to use rather to launch her own company, Petforia, where she's now focused on innovative ways to improve the pet industry by growing her business. Grace has extensive knowledge regarding both online retail as well as brick and mortar. So we're really looking forward to hearing that experience. But Grace, just like everybody else, give us that quick elevator pitch.
Of course, Tom. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Grace. I'm the founder of Petforia. And what started Petforia is our core product, which is our luxury dog treats, which you guys can see here on the screen. I am that dog obsessed person. I take my dog everywhere. And on the weekends when I was not in school, we would go to birthday parties, bar mitzvahs, happy hours, all these kind of ridiculous things. And I would always want to bring a gift. And when looking at gifts for dog treats, everything kind of looked like they were in elevated Ziploc bags. There's really nothing luxurious, nothing that was easy to gift and ready to go. And so that's when we started Petforia with our dog treats. And since its launch, we've expanded into a lot of various product categories. So we have handmade dog accessories, sassy human apparel, and dog toys, and much, much more. And we've also launched wholesale. We're in over 30 boutiques. We've been able to open up a 6-month pop-up, which Tom, I know you want to talk about our brick and mortar. We also have a permanent storefront. We're working on another pop-up deal right now. And yeah, that's a little summary of Petforia.
I love it. Okay, excellent. Thank you. And our last two panelists are Matthew Alexander and Hannah Roeloffs. They attended FIDM together, worked in the industry separately for years, and then teamed up to establish Visualize Creative Agency. The business covers influencer marketing, public relations, events, brands, talent management. They cover quite a bit. Prior to starting their company, both worked in these areas for different companies and then came together and started their own. So, Matthew, Hannah, tell us your elevator pitch.
Hello, I'm Hannah Roeloffs, and I'm co-founder of Visualize Creative Agency with Matthew. And what's really special about our agency is Matthew and I did meet at FIDM, so it's cool to have this be our little project together from our experience through FIDM. Visualize Creative Agency is a full-service 360 PR firm. We kind of started with brands, and we offered all different types of marketing. And it actually expanded from there to content creation. So now we offer social media management and as well as talent management, which kind of goes into influencer marketing and PR with PR boxes and earned media as well. So we can work with a brand in full capacity on all things creative and marketing.
So Matthew, Hannah, I just want to stay with you all since you came up last and you're first of mind at the moment. The next kind of question I wanted to ask everybody about was sort of the problem statement you're solving for, right? So anytime we start a company, there's usually like some founder story that is based on a problem statement that either you or somebody you know and love confronted and you overcame. So I'm wondering sort of like in that creative process of designing your company, what was the problem statement you all came up against?
I mean, hi, everyone. I'm Matthew as well. But I think the main thing for us within this industry is that for us, one of our taglines is it's all in the details, because we notice down to the very most minute detail. And there was just things that weren't being executed when we would go up to certain events or see certain things. And that's how, when we are forming Visualize, we wanted to make sure that everything is executed down to that very last detail.
Excellent. Okay, Grace, I want to ask you the same question. And if you all haven't figured out, we're going in reverse order this time. Grace, so problem statement, and I think you addressed it a little bit, but kind of clearly, what was the problem statement that led to your founder story?
Yeah, problem statement was there just wasn't really anything bougie enough on the market for dog treats. I'm sure a lot of you guys are pet owners. I know I'm a little ridiculous, but it's okay.
I love that you own it though. You've leaned in. It's great.
I know. I'm always like, here I am. Here's what we do. But I'm sure a lot of you guys are pet owners. And when you look at your dog treats, I mean, really all the dog treats come in elevated Ziploc bags, and there was just nothing that looked nice on your counter. I'm a very big aesthetic person. And so I want things to like look good, feel good. and there was nothing there. And so really that was the problem, and we solved it with our luxury dog treats.
Okay, fair enough. Ayana, for you, the problem statement, you were still in college at the time. So how did you see a problem?
So I was doing product development at the time. I was in the middle of my AA, and my friend came to me. She's like a short girl, but she's really pretty. And she was just like, oh, I want to do something. I want to try to get into modeling. And I was always knew I wanted to do something with fashion. So it just clicked. I was all like, I know people, I love people, I can manage you. And I just wanted to make my agency not be so like superficial of skinny, tall, straight, you know, to the point. I wanted to have it be open to other people and people feel inclusive, and also be competitive at the same time when it, you know, going up against and trying to get castings and bookings. So it was just trying to give people an opportunity when, you know, when they felt like she was too short to be a model. And I was all like, well, you're good for pictures, so let's see how we can work this. So it just started from there, and I don't even manage her no more. I just took off from her, so it was my practice.
Camilla, how about for you, the problem statement you were solving?
Well, you said a little bit already when you introduced me. So right when I got married, I could not find a pair of shoes to wear that I liked. I was kind of lost. And I've always wanted to start my own brand. And, you know, I was a little bored of the shoes out there. It's also like, for me, it's a mix of like solving a problem, but also answering a market opportunity, like the luxury market, which is huge. And it's sort of like recession proof, even in times like now, like the luxury market keeps growing. So, I was, you know, I mean, my design, I combine beautiful shoes with playful heels. So it was kind of like the search of like the timeless silhouette that you can wear with any outfit. So it's effortless to wear, but it elevates you with a special heel. So it's not like a plain pump with a stiletto heel, which we've seen so many of. It's like playing with the different jewels and really giving that special shoe that makes you feel amazing when you step out.
Excellent. I want to stay with you and Grace for a second, because there's sort of a divide amongst the four companies, the five of you. There's two of you in the product space and two of you in the service space. So let's stay on the product side for a minute. One of the key things we know with product design is the forced iterations. So I'm kind of curious, what were some of the early iterations that you maybe had, you know, like obviously we know where you are now, but, you know, pull back the curtain a little bit. What was something that maybe wasn't so smooth at the beginning you had to like reiterate on? Either one of you can take it, Camilla or Grace.
Well, for me, it was definitely, you know, shoes are probably one of the most difficult thing you could ever make. I would say maybe the most difficult. The good thing is like once you learn, you know, you have some unique skills.
Yeah.
So for me, it was finding the right factory, you know, as a new brand. Even though I'm Italian, it's still very difficult. So it was a brand factory match, both on the skill level for the factory, but also finding a factory that could support a small brand. And incredibly for shoes is also a matter of like, not just the factory, but it's all the components. So it was establishing relationships with the heel factory, the last factory, the suppliers. It was like just a whole game of doing that infrastructure and then finding all the right people to work with. And it's in the beginning, I had to switch a few factories, change a few suppliers. You know, definitely was a challenge in the beginning before I made my first product.
How long did it take you to get from like, I'm assuming you did a prototype first and then to that finally what you call your first product with all of those, you know, new manufacturers, all the supply chain issues in between? What was the time horizon on that?
Probably about 6 months.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we did like the first factory, for example, we started talking and in the end they sort of like flaked on me. They were like, you know what, we're too busy, we can't do it. So there was a bit setback, but, you know, I went to a new factory. The second factory also didn't work out. The third factory finally did. But in the process, I learned a lot. And, you know, in fashion is a game of resilience. Like there's a reason why only so few people make it in the end with the final product and to create the whole collection. You have to keep going. You don't have to, can't stop if someone shuts the door in front of you. And it'll happen a lot because unless you are some LVMH person and you come with like a lot of money or like a huge brand, like the beginnings are hard when you're not known, and you have to find the people that trust you and that believe in you.
Yeah. Yeah. How about for
So
you,
it was my
Grace?
third factory.
Oh, yeah, no, go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah, it was my third factory that was finally successful.
Grace, for you, what were some of the iterations you went through with your company?
Yeah, of course. Really quickly, I love what Camilla said about game of resilience. It truly is. It's a game of resilience and flexibility as an entrepreneur. And so this kind of like question of like, hey, what was not so smooth when starting your business, and what did I have to reiterate on? I'm continuously reiterating. I'm continuously looking at what I've done, where we've gone, what we're doing, how we're doing it. And we're always just kind of reiterating on itself. But I would say that when I first launched, I launched the business. Of course, luxury dog treats was our core product. So this was like my core focus at the time. I launched it with the dog tubes as well as a gift box. And that's how you purchased it. Every purchase came with the tube and the gift box. Later, I learned that the gift box was a little too extra for my people, and not everybody wanted a gift box, which totally makes sense. And so we really quickly had to, like bait and switch and just lower our costs a little bit and just sell the tubes with an optional gift box add-on. I now have maybe 100,000 boxes here in my warehouse hanging out because of that mistake. But it really, truly is a game of resilience and flexibility as an entrepreneur.
I mean, I feel like I'm hearing like a Black Friday sale, free with purchase, get your gift box.
We are starting a subscription box soon, and those will have all of the gift boxes with those. So hopefully that will help me blow them out. But yes, definitely.
Silver linings, always looking for the silver linings, right?
Yes, exactly.
So from the product side, let's now look at the service side of things. And I'm just wondering, for either of your companies, and there's three of you who can participate here, so feel free to just jump in. What was sort of the big challenge when you were starting out that you had to overcome? Often you remain focused on a core service, so you don't necessarily iterate in that space, but maybe there is a significant challenge, or, I've talked to some entrepreneurs in the past who overextended at the beginning and, went into big space and had this big footprint that wasn't worth it. So for either of your companies, any thoughts, anybody?
Yeah, I'm super excited about this question because this is something Matthew and I actually really had to deal with within the first couple months of us launching our business. We actually launched our business assuming that it was going to be working in one razor-focused way. And when it was starting up a little bit slower than expected, we realized, wow, we really need to evaluate our services, evaluate our target customer, and see if what we're offering is actually what our target customer is wanting. And we pivoted, and it has changed the game for our agency. We changed around some services and added on new services that were more hot right now. It sounds kind of funny. And it had brought a lot more business to our company, just offering some different services than we originally had expected that was gonna do well.
Okay, so what space did you start in and what did you add on?
So we originally were going to be razor focused in PR, and you'll learn quickly that space is very saturated. And as a new company, we just weren't seeing much movement with brands. And then we actually added on a social media service pillar to our company. And that is such in demand from brands. Every brand needs a social media presence these days. And so that has been such an amazing angle for us to get our foot in the door with brands now, where we'll manage your socials, we'll do content creation and strategy. And then typically what happens is we start with that service, prove our capabilities, and then from there can expand to event planning with the brand, PR with the brand, influencer marketing with the brand. And so being able to pivot truly, I feel, is what has shaped our business. That's what our foundation is on.
Something that we've definitely learned have to be adaptable on, and know that the industry is changing constantly. And it's not just about those short-term relationships that you're trying to form. You're in it for the long run. And like Hannah was saying, once we break in with one thing, we're going to prove our worth and we're going to go on to the next. So we've definitely had to pivot in those ways, but learned that it's not for the short run, it's for the long run.
And last thing about that, but what's kind of interesting is, especially working in social media, we work with a lot of talent and influencers who are in the space. And I don't know if everybody recently saw the whole scare again about TikTok being banned in the US, but that is just a great reminder that you always have to be on your toes, willing to pivot, because some of the people we work with most closely's biggest income is from TikTok. So it's okay if the light gets turned off there. How are we going to move? How are we going to pivot? So we're always on our toes, like ready and kind of seeing what we can do.
Ayana, yeah, to you. How about your question?
I was gonna say that it's the same as them, that always pivoting and changing. Solely going into being a modeling agency and just working with just models, I had to figure out how I can differentiate from the rest of the markets and be competitive and just make my agency different. So, I've added different things that can, just like being doing full productions and putting on fashion shows for designers, and trying to figure out how I can help them while helping me at the same time. So it's always thinking about what they might need and think about what I might need, so that we can see, like, okay, what is the solution between the both of them that might bridge the gaps, and just be able to create the best project that you can, and just try to get the most clientele by being creative and different.
Grace, in your founding story, you had mentioned to me at one point that you had gone to your community, and your community said they wanted additional products. And I think there's kind of two threads I want to pull on in this, and then we'll open it up to all of you. But number one, you have to develop a community. So that's a challenging piece, first of all. On the product side, it's a unique challenge. On the service side, it's an even more unique challenge, because you're really B2B at that point, business to business. So I want to start with that particular thread, and then I would like to go deeper into the rest of you and how you listen to your community. So A, how do you build the community? And then B, how do you then hear from them to determine what to do next? So Grace, tell us your story.
Yeah, absolutely. Community is a really big thing for me. Petforia wouldn't be half of what it is if I didn't have the people around me, the people who support us, the people who show up for all of our events, come to our store, whether they buy things or not, talk about us. It's all about the community. And for me, my team will always say, like, I'm really, really adamant about how we're perceived. And I really just lead with my heart, with my values, and what I truly believe in. And that has really fostered and kind of gained the community. We've gotten it through, a lot of it through social media. I think my social media manager is on here, so she would kill me if I didn't give a shout out. If you guys follow us on Instagram at Petforia. But a lot of our community is through social media, just kind of engaging, producing things that we love, things that are, reflective of my personality, Benny's personality, what you will experience when you come to Petforia, whether you're shopping online or in the store. So community is just a really big thing for me, and really truly kind of motivates a lot of what I do. And what I mean by that, especially when developing new products. So when we first launched, we launched with our luxury dog treats. And, next up, we started with our dog accessories. And I had not sewn before. I just kind of heard from everyone saying, Grace, we think you make a really cute dog bandana. And I was like, you know what? Sure, I'm free on a Saturday. I'm going to figure out how to work the serger. I'll figure out how to work the sewing machine. Like, sure, let's go do it. But I think that, being an entrepreneur is a lot of just like leading with your heart and your values, but also getting feedback and requests from the community. It's not always great, but it's always, something that you can always learn and kind of grow from. And now, since I've learned how to sew, dog accessories is a huge product category for us.
Well, I'm wondering with you, I think I just read that Hermes is bigger now than Nike, I want to say, like brand cap. or market cap of the company. So, you know, the luxury space, obviously there's a lot of room for growth, but you have to have a following, and that is what we would also call community. So how are you going about building community for a brand?
Yes, well, for sure, it's definitely very important as like brand awareness. You know, you have a luxury product. How do you get people to find out? I mean, I would say it's definitely a mix of different things. Social media is for sure important. It's now like almost more important than the website in a way. Everything looks you up on social media. Like I'm noticing brands you don't even put like a press page anymore. It's all like celebrities tagged on your Instagram and the highlights and all that. So it's a bit of that. For me, it's also luxury stores. The brand is super new, so I'm in the process of building my community. But I think it's like different touch points. So a customer sees your shoes on or your product at the luxury store, maybe sees it again on a celebrity, and then it sees it again on an Instagram post. So and then slowly they start becoming aware of you and following you and liking your product and eventually purchasing. So it's like the path to to eventually acquire the product. And I, recently, like my last sales campaign in January, I presented in Paris. Like, was my third presentation, and it was super exciting because you get to hear really important buyers' opinions, like Saks came, Net-a-Porter, all those big players, and you get top buyers like commenting on your designs and giving you like feedback. So I think like we're close to get into a major retailer. And when that will happen, we'll for sure expand the community. And it's also that the retailer is like definitely one side, but I definitely want to also expand on my own direct e-commerce where you can get real feedback from customers, because the retailers are great, but you also want to have that touch point with customers. And I personally love when customers reach out to my Instagram and comment on the shoes or comment on the detail or request like a particular style, like, oh, when can I buy this? I saw it on a celebrity. So that's like, I think slowly builds the community, and it's important to get connected, to stay connected to your customer and understanding what they're looking for.
Yeah, it's wow. Well, and we're wishing you luck on getting into a major retailer. Like,
well, we're close. We're so close. It's so challenging, but it's like a resilience game, as I just said. It's those big buyers, they wait like 2 or 3 seasons. It's like almost they're waiting to see like, is she gonna still be here next season, which is honestly, it's cruel, but it's true. I was originally featured on Footwear News as one of the top emerging designers that just of the year. And the journalist was telling me how they interview so many brands, and unfortunately a lot of them disappear after a few years. So it's super tough. And I think those big buyers come through when they see that you're strong, that you keep showing novelty, that you keep expanding, and it's just like you just keep going. It's very challenging but exciting at the same time. And in my business, I definitely want to push forward both sides, the retailer and the e-commerce, because they're both important and they're both rewarding in different ways.
Well, and I think too that all of you have done a great job staying connected to the college as well. And not to say that we are the heart of your beating blood in the community, but it's the little placements, especially in our digital economy, that those little placements on a blog at the college or on our Instagram account that do better. The spiders find them and help elevate you in Google, et cetera, et cetera. So just pointing all of those pieces out for others who might be thinking about, well, how can I start some of these things? That's an excellent.
No, everything is important at the beginning. Everything helps. So the backlinks, links to your site, and as an entrepreneur, also you learn all those things, the SEO and how to get on top of Google search without spending like a lot of money on ads. And now it's unfortunately like a lot about budget. And but the good thing is that you can make it even like with a smaller budget. You just have to be smart and figure out a way to stay on top without a bigger budget.
Ayana, how about for you? And you can kind of spin this another way if you don't want to go directly into community, but how have you grown your community, and or how are you going about getting PR? Because that's kind of the way this is sort of evolving, this conversation.
Yeah, PR is definitely something that my agency is in, like, in the process of needing of, definitely, because we need to be on in more things and just getting more press for just the models, press for the news that we've done, and just events that we have going on, and just just putting our name in good lights, and just putting our name in places that we're probably not there physically, but our name needs to be floating there anyways.
Yeah.
But I feel like building a community, I've personally had to feel like, because of where I'm at, LA is like the place where it's like you're building your community. New York, so I try to put myself in those areas and do like a little work in those areas so that I can build the people around there. So knowing that those are the areas where my business is going to boom the fastest. So I just think putting yourself where you need to be and where your business needs to be, it helps you build the community. Just like your target market, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Matthew and Hannah, how about to you all? Because technically you're sort of in the PR space, which means you don't get to get mentioned in the press clipping. You get the press for the people and the things and all of that. So it's got to be a little more challenging to do the work you're doing to find and develop a community. Have you done it? What are you doing? Or is it still a work in process? Where are you guys at?
I think community for us is definitely contacts and networking. I think that is one of your most valuable assets in life, basically. Even starting at FIDM was all about keeping in contact with those people and knowing there's little placements of, hey, you never know you're going to re-associate with that person in your life. And you need to always be on good terms with everyone, because especially this industry is so small that community is the people that you're surrounding yourself with. And in our space, it's such a broad space that even though you might be a small company, you're going to become in contact with someone who you're working with in the future.
Yeah, that is very well said. You took it out of my mouth, Matthew. But when you mentioned community, I actually kind of was thinking we don't necessarily have a community as far as like a following that we're trying to build, but we have a network of our own contacts that we're listening to. And a great personal example is we actually were never intending on doing talent management. That was never like an intention. And we were approached by a few different people in our contacts to ask for those services. And we were like, you know what, if the demand's there, let's go for it, because we have past experience in that. And that's actually how we built our whole roster. We never went out to find new talent. It was all through word of mouth of our own network.
It's y'all are so interesting. I have several more questions, and I want to just remind the audience that they are welcome to submit the questions at the bottom. Use that Q&A button and send us anything. But, since you all attended the college, I think my next question is going to be pretty kind of basic. Is there a class you took here that has surprised you in its usefulness as you've launched your business? And maybe it's the most straightforward, like maybe it was a shoe design class, but maybe it was also the Excel class you took that you had no clue you would be using Excel to the extent you're using it now. But so I don't know, we'll go around the horn, and Ayana, I'm picking you first because you're on the far right of my screen. So a class that's serving you so very well.
I feel like, oh my gosh, FIDM, thank you for the Illustrator and Photoshop classes. I feel like those are the very needed. Oh my gosh, even though I do my stuff on Canva.
Stop, don't say that out loud. Come on now.
It helps me because it's like it's the articulate things that you want to see. It's like how you want to present it, how you need to present it. FIDM definitely showed me like there's a way to present your product, the way to present your brand, the way things need to be visual, and the eye. So that's one thing I just can take away from. I do still dibble and dabble, but I'm rusty.
Come on, I need you to dibble and dabble a little bit more. Come on now. Come on. Yes, but I totally agree with you. And understanding the hierarchy of visual design is like, it is such a key for anybody who is doing anything in the creative industry. So yes, thank you for calling that one out. Matthew, you're next on my screen. So now to you, the class that is like, it is serving me so well.
Honestly, I would have to say marketing and branding. That is one of, I think at the time, I would have never expected, especially in the space that I'm in now. While I was at FIDM, I was interning at a PR firm and then ended up getting a job there. And that's when I discovered styling, and then I'll full circle back to owning a company that's 360 and everything. But just knowing those classes that you don't think that are going to help you, but truly do come back to help you with, I literally have books that I still go through from FIDM because they're so useful in their criteria.
I think Grace is next on my screen as I'm going around. Grace, to you, the class that is serving you so well.
Most of my business classes have served me very well in being an entrepreneur. I would say, I believe in merchandise marketing, we take like a basic math class, hated it, but like actually really needed it, and still probably can go to that class again and learn a lot of things from it. So that's great. But going through the business management for my BS at FIDM, really all of like the business management classes, the leadership classes were truly, truly helpful. Even if I didn't really realize it while I was taking them.
Excellent. We'll take that. We'll take somebody who appreciates math all those years later. I'm that way about Excel. Hannah, you are next. That one class that you're loving.
I'll start off by saying one of the biggest things I learned just through going through school was you're going to take a ton of classes and you're going to love and hate some of them, but you need to, a big part of school is learning how to learn. So it's not essentially exactly every little thing you're learning, it's learning how to learn. And, but from a favorite class, I would say, I can't remember the exact name of it, but it was something along the lines of social media marketing, PR. And that's honestly where I learned all of the foundation of the industry. We were writing reports, we were writing press releases, we're doing case studies as projects, which are real life things you're going to be having to know how to do in the industry.
Can I let you in on a big secret?
Let's hear it.
That is basically what you said is basically what college is all about. Just want to teach you how to teach yourself.
Yep,
right?
literally.
Like it's all about being able to solve problems, whatever the problem might be, which is why at the end of the day, we tell students, don't freak out too much over what your undergraduate degree is in. Mine was in journalism. I am not a journalist any longer, but I still use the skill set to problem solve and storytell and all those kind of great things. So yes, you've cracked the code, Hannah. Thank you for doing it. Camilla, to you, what was a class that you just have found so useful as you've launched your career?
Well, I say a couple of things. If I have to say a class, I would say just Photoshop, just because my major wasn't design, it was VCOM. I got there to design later. But through VCOM, I got to learn a lot about Photoshop, which I use so much now through my designs because I like to design in a more realistic way. So I would sketch it out, but then I would like, for example, especially for my heels, it's very useful because I paste an accessory and I just use some Photoshop tricks to help me through creating a shoe in a more realistic way. So I would say definitely that class, also because I love the teacher, I still remember her. So it was like it was very nice. And then the other thing I would say is definitely internships that FIDM helped me with. I did 3 great internships, one at Armani, one at Gucci, one at Saks Fifth Avenue. And it's something I would definitely recommend to the students. And FIDM was great, connected me to those companies. And because it's really where I saw the work that I was able to get hands-on and get real experience and also understand if that job was for me or not. For example, I got to style windows, dress mannequins, and there I realized that wasn't really what I wanted to do. At Armani, I was at their PR office, and that I really liked, but I learned a little bit more like of the behind the scenes of that business. And I would definitely recommend internships to all your students. And then, by the way, we're also offering an internship here at my company. So feel free to reach out. We have great programs and they're great opportunities. So yeah.
So my last question before we turn to the Q&A, we've gotten a couple, and again, I encourage everybody to submit some more, but from me is specifically around sort of the exit strategy. So if people don't understand this around founders and around businesses, you're supposed to, if you're doing it correctly, go in with an exit in mind. You know, I am going to build this and then sell it to X, Y, or Z company. I'm going to go about, you know, raising capital and giving away, you know, what we would call maybe shares, and then going public with the company. And that would be your exit. And then there's the founder who wants to find and found for a lifetime. This is my longtime career. This is what I want to do. So I'm kind of curious for each of you, where do you sit in that spectrum? And obviously it's a spectrum, which means you don't have to pick one. But what is your exit strategy from your company? And I'm just going to go backwards around the same loop I just went around. So Camilla, to you first. What is your exit strategy?
Well, it's to sell the company when the company is ready. I want to build a global company, not just for shoes, but to expand in handbags and jewelry. As you know, I did like a lot of case studies on comparable companies like Amina Muaddi, Aquazzura. It's a, you know, when a shoe company is a natural expansion to do all accessories. So shoes, jewelry, and yeah, around there. So really capitalize on the opportunity in the luxury market and having the bigger market to take advantage of, and eventually, yeah, exit. And I've been studying different companies. I've seen like a really good exit of Paris, Texas. They've been acquired partially by the Brazilian company. I forget now. Sorry, I'm blanking out the name, but anyway, it was a successful exit. And so, yeah, my target would be LVMH Group, the Capri Holdings, that has Jimmy Choo, you know, the Kering Group, all of those.
Those are two pretty excellent targets to have. Yes, good exit strategy right there.
I have to say, I would like to stay creative director on the company, but so I would like to stay involved, especially because the company has my name. But it's a good goal. I think as an entrepreneur, like it feels good to have an ending goal. When, you know, at times of like when you're struggling or when you're like tired, you're like, why am I doing this again? You know, so yeah, you have to set a goal in mind and be happy with it, and it helps you definitely to keep pushing.
It's all about motivation at that point. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Matthew and Hannah, to you all, what is there an exit strategy? Is this a lifelong journey? Where are you two at?
So Matthew and I kind of went into this with hopes of just being owners of the company, where we want to be able to grow this thing. Right now, we're very hands-on. We have a small team that works hard. And the goal is to be able to build this thing up to where we're able to have multiple offices and locations. And Matthew and I can have the flexibility and fluidity to be able to just be overseeing, kind of directing, and that's what our long-term conversations have been.
So staying independent, like there's no thought of maybe selling to or merging with some of the bigger agencies at this point. You want to stay independent.
I would say if the right company comes, the right opportunity.
Right. I feel like for Hannah and I, especially too, like this is our baby. We want to be so hands-on with this and to be able to go into other ventures that we want to, which is why we want to build it up to what it will become.
Yeah. But what's cool is we have a lot of, oh, what'd you say?
I said what it is.
Hey. But we have a lot of like goals of how we can expand the company outside of just our current services. So we want to have some different pillars of eventually dip into the restaurant space and event space and some different angles here. So we'll see kind of how things go and play out, but I'm excited.
Oh, I like it. You've got the representation. So you've got the talent on one side, you have, you know, restaurants on another. I see what you're doing over there. I see this. some new ground getting broken. Interesting.
Yes.
Okay. Grace, how about to you? Exit strategy.
Yeah. I always say I'm busy building my empire, and I'm not quite sure what this empire looks like yet, and how I will exit, but I will continue to build this and be hands-on and be the founder and CEO until I reached that point of building my empire. And so that's what I always say. Not really quite sure where that will lead me yet, but hopefully something amazing in the future. Definitely have a lot to expand on and tap into for Petforia. We are, so little. We're just 2 years old. And so there's so much more to do and create and make in this empire. But once I build my empire, I will be done and I will know.
I like it. I like it. Ayana, how about for you? What is your exit strategy?
This is, like Matthew said, this is my baby. Like, she was born in 2018. So this is, I definitely want to be the next Wilhelmina, the next Ford. And I definitely want to be in Miami, New York, Los Angeles. So, and I'm a mother agency. So I definitely want, my models in different countries, different states. So I just want to expand. And like I said before, I have my Fashion Week production as well. So, I'm just stretching my hands creatively as much as I can, but I'm definitely going to the top.
Got it. Okay. I like it. I like it. So we've got two who are staying in it for the long run, unless someone buys one of them out. And then one who's definitely like, I got a plan to get out. And the other who's like, I just want to make a lot of money and then get out. I like it. I think the end game here is always about the money, it seems. So there's a common thread there. I want to turn to a couple of these questions. First one, Camilla, for you. So you had mentioned that you were named by Footwear News as one of the emerging designers. So how has that impacted you? We see those lists often, and does it have an impact when you are listed in an industry magazine like that? Did you see bumps in web traffic or followers or anything?
For sure, a huge bump in web traffic. A lot of people that checked out my website, my Instagram, not a ton of some new followers, but not a huge amount. It was more like people checking out the brand, and I could definitely see it right after the article came out.
Yeah.
And another thing that happened, a few stylists reached out, one for Cosmopolitan to pull the shoes for the shoot. And another stylist just pull the shoes for a celebrity here in LA. So there was some interest. It's an industry magazine, so I think people were buyers, stylists, people that in footwear that read it, and I put it on my LinkedIn, so that that also helped. For example, a former colleague of mine reached out, congratulating and introducing me to some people. A potential investor for the company that will be great, which I'm talking to tomorrow, actually. So one thing I have to say, an advice for all the students is network, really network, like Matthew said earlier. It's super important, try to meet as many people as you can. And, in the way fashion is a small industry, especially it's a niche. And if you start your own company, the more people the more beneficial you'll be, and the easier it will be to move forward faster, for sure.
Before I ask the next one, I'm just curious, has anybody else been named to one of those, top 50, top this, top that, and if it's had any impact or benefit for you? Anybody?
No, but I'm going to be on 30 Under 30.
Okay, now. I like it. Good plan. Good plan.
And I was going to add on to that. I don't think sometimes maybe just one article might not bring a ton of traffic, but it's the credibility. And then as you start to gain more traction there, that's when the leads will come. But it really, especially as you're starting a business, I want to congratulate you for even getting that first lead, because it'll really truly be the first of many of those little touch points that add on to your credibility.
Thank you. No, for sure. I definitely think it's little by little you go far. And one thing that I also was thinking of doing is using it as approaching at the editors or stylists, to get more features. So it's building from one. It's a stepping stone to get more features.
Yes, absolutely. And that's even as you were saying earlier, that's how you build it. It's kind of funny how you build a community, as those little touch points. People need to see you X amount of times before there's that conversion there. And it's almost in the same way with the articles.
Yeah, it's the same way. Everyone is kind of looking at each other, the Saks buyer is looking at what celebrity the brand is on, and the celebrities are like, oh, what stores are you in? And the customer is looking at celebrity stores and articles. It's all like a whole circle. Everyone is sort of like watching, and it's the first yeses are the hardest to get, but then you fly.
The domino effect, it ricochets.
Yeah. It's like you just get the first yeses in, the big important one, and then everyone else coming.
I have a question for Camilla real quick. Do you do trade shows, or do you have a showroom, or planning on doing
a showroom? For luxury, I recommend showrooms. Trade shows are more for contemporary.
No, I'm talking about for you personally. Like, have you thought about doing trade shows or having a showroom?
Yeah, you mean for sales?
Yeah, to like gain buyers and stuff like that.
Showroom. Trade shows I wouldn't do. I don't think it's a brand. But I mean, I've worked on many trade shows in my past experience with brands. They're helpful. For sure, it's your choice. It's depending on what brand path you want. For my brand image, I'm doing showroom only.
Okay, beautiful.
Grace, I saw you were popping up there for a second. Did you have anything you wanted to chime in or no?
Yeah, I was just going to talk about the articles and like people mentioning you. Even if it's a small local business mentioning you, and that's like how we started. We started with like a little mention from, I can't even remember. Then we got into Madison magazine and just started kind of growing from there, and then Fabulous Wisconsin, and then we hit Vogue. And so like it's all those little stepping stones that you really should celebrate too when you're starting your business as well. Like you never know who will randomly read Fabulous Wisconsin and the feature that they did. And I'm sure, like a lot of random people have seen our name or Petforia or my name or whatever. But it's really, really cool, that domino effect, Matthew, of how like things happen when it's something that just starts so small that a local newspaper article magazine mentions you, and then all of a sudden you open the page and you're like talking to Vogue the next day. So it's really crazy and wild.
Well, I'm really hopeful that Fabulous Wisconsin is giving you a free subscription for all the shout outs. And I feel like I also need to subscribe to Fabulous Wisconsin. Maybe there's some good cheese mentioned in addition to great pet toys and food. Excellent. The other question that came in from Cindy Patino for Hannah and Matthew. What made you guys decide to start your agency together?
Wow. First of all, hi, Cindy.
Hi, Cindy.
Everybody's saying hi to Cindy.
I would say that there was when Hannah and I were working separately on our own ventures, there was just that disconnect of, we had people approaching us saying that we could do something to the next level. And we just really wanted to hit that mark of, I would say, building on that. So I don't know if there's anything else you want to add to that, Hannah.
I'll share a fun story that ties back to FIDM, and you're going to laugh at this one, Matthew. But I think something that I realized even back in school that I admired about Matthew was the leadership there. And so I always saw something in him that, like, he could be a director, he could be an owner. But a cool story is we both took our portfolio class together, and our professor, everybody was saying they wanted to be, a creative director. That's the goal for everybody. And he was like, who actually thinks they'll be able to be a creative director? And Matthew and I were the only two students in the class that stood up. And I think it was from there that we were like, wow, we both feel like we have something here. We both feel like we have visions, we can see long term. And that is like what kind of brought us together, and we kept that relationship. And when we were talking about launching something, it was kind of a no-brainer.
That's beautiful.
I love that. I like the confidence is important. I mean, it's important, right?
Yeah.
It's at the end of the day is an important piece of the puzzle. Okay, just briefly before we say goodbye, I want to know the biggest lesson that you would want somebody to know, or that you would want to tell yourself if you could go back, to the founding days of your company. So I think, Camilla, since I think you started first last time, we'll go with you first this time as well. So what is the one thing you would want to know, or lesson you would love to know then that you now know?
I would say connect with more like advisors early on to jumpstart your business. I think there were a lot of things as an entrepreneur that I learned that like on my path, that if I knew earlier on different things, it could be logistics, it could be financial, nothing creative, because that's like what I'm best at. But if I had anything in advice for students or new entrepreneurs, or if I could go back, I'll probably try to surround myself earlier on in my path to people that could advise me on the best steps to take on certain fields. Because when you're an entrepreneur and you have business, there's many things that might not be your expertise, but you do have to handle it, and you have to make decisions, and you have to know what to do. And sometimes when you don't know, it could slow you down. So it would be faster and easier for me if I had more advice, or I was, So I would say surround yourself with people with C-level experience or more experience than you that could tell you what are the best choices in some fields that we are not an expert at.
Excellent. Okay. Matthew, Hannah, how about to you two? A piece of advice you'd rather have known sooner?
Mine's not sooner, but it's more of an advice that I've kind of lived by to build a business, is to always surround yourself in a room that you're uncomfortable in. And I say that in a preface of, do I want to become like the people I'm around, or do I want to be better than the people that I'm uncomfortable by, as in business wise? When you're growing, you're changing, you know that you're succeeding in a way. And my advice for that is to always, if you're growing and not at the same time, then you're just plateauing, and you never want to plateau in that way. And to build a successful business is to be adaptable.
Hannah?
I would say my biggest piece of advice is you really need to focus on setting the foundation of your business before you launch. It is very important to prepare in the quiet for when the chaos comes. And Matthew and I experienced this firsthand, where luckily we have a business plan. We had the foundation and the organization on all sides of the company prepped for when we do get a ton of clients at once, when we are onboarding a lot of new talent. Do we have the systems in place to be able to hold and have that capacity of work coming in? So that's my biggest piece of advice.
I like it. Grace, how about to you?
I'm going to share two, but they're really short. So Tom, sorry. My first one is, you will fail and it will be okay. My second piece is, there will never be a perfect time to start. So just start. That's it.
Okay, easy. See, you didn't take much time. Don't need to apologize. Ayana, how about you? The lesson. What is the lesson?
First off, Matthew, you are so posh, and I love it. I've been loving this whole time for you.
Thank you.
So I just want to let you know that right now. But the biggest lesson is definitely surrounding yourself around creative minds that align with your ideology, and also just knowing that I wish I can also take the resources that FIDM had back then. I took them, but also back then I felt like the passion was driving it. So I didn't really sit and listen or sit down and utilize the resources that I really had, such as internships or, things like that. So I really wish I would have really focused on that and just been around people that can really network. And I wouldn't have to do so much networking now, if that makes sense.
It absolutely does make sense. I want to thank all five of you for spending the last hour with us. It has been excellent learning from you and hearing your experiences and your stories. And thank you for being so real and so honest. I know sometimes it's a little much what we ask you to share, but I think it's always so valuable to get your story. So thank you to each of you for spending some time with us this afternoon. And of course, to our viewers, thank you, of course, for being with us as well. If you have questions about admission here at the college, we're about ready to throw up on the screen here some excellent information for you where you can access all of that on Twitter, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, and the second logo is, I'm blanking at TikTok. Of course it's TikTok, and I love TikTok. It's my favorite at the moment. Or you, of course, can email us at admissions@fidm.edu. We always want to remind you to stay inspired. And my friends, thank you so much for the last hour again, and we'll see you all very soon.